Okay, so let's get started on today's class. Thank you everyone for coming. I really appreciate when you guys make it to the live classes. It feels like a real lecture. And because I've been trying to put these announcements at the start, if you want your work submitted to Critique Hour, you want your stuff seen on in these videos, just go to istebrak.com and go to the Reddit icon. That's where you can join us on our subreddit and have a look through the wall. If you don't critique others, others won't get to know you. You have to join in on the conversation. You have to critique others. Hey Istebrak, what if I'm not good enough to submit my art on Critique Hour? You are. You're just there. If you've drawn something, submit it. If this is your very first drawing, submit it. Because you're still gonna learn something, and you're still better off being surrounded by artists than alone. We are social creatures, and we distribute and share and communicate a lot of knowledge and trade knowledge when we work with a community, with a guild. So this is your guild. These are your people. So come and be courteous, be respectful. Don't be bullies. Any bullying has 0 tolerance. That means you're banned. As soon as you act like a little bitch, you're gone. So that's just how it works. If you insult people's art, if you don't take criticism very easily and you lash back and start, calling out others just because they give you a critique, if you say, if these are the kinds of responses I ban. I really don't appreciate you attacking me personally like this. That instant ban. If anybody takes it personally, a critique, they take it personally, you're gone, out of here. Another kind of reaction is, I don't agree with anything you're saying. In fact, I think you're less skilled than me, so you're in no place to draw better than me. Or you draw way less than that person, so you have no right to critique them. Or you draw way less well than that person, so you have no right to critique. Insta-ban, out of here. See ya. Get nuked. What else? If you reply, if you submit something and you write up excuses for why, oh this is my style, or oh this is my blah blah blah, this is something I wanted to mimic, oh this is just, oh I meant for it to look like that. That's a good one. Instapan. See you later. Any furry art, no thank you. What else? Blatant lewd nudes, straight up, just legs spread, butterfly. I don't know what the hell they call it these days. See you later. So make sure you guys are not breaking the rules, bullying each other, all that kind of shit. 0 tolerance for that. What else? Then we've got announcements. So Portrait Studio's on sale. If anyone wants it, it's right at the top. And I have a cute little announcement for you. Abu does pixel art, and he's really shy about it, and he started to post it. He's been doing pixel art for as long as I've been teaching, but he's just recently been posting his work. So I really appreciate if you went over to Instagram and gave him some follows. And if you guys want to submit your pixel art, all the pixel animation, anything like that, and since we have an authority on the matter now, which is Abu, he'll probably give you a critique as well if you post your stuff on the community. So pixel art is welcome on our community, since we have active pixel artists here. That's it. Let's get started on today's class. So this piece I actually caught on Instagram, and I told her to submit it on the community for me. Thank you, Annie. I wanted to take a look at this for you guys today. So I'm not sure what you were going for when it came to the eyes. I think you were going for that kind of Hollywood, kind of window of light on the eye. But I've just opened up Portrait Studio, so I can show you the issues with that. So I'm just using the navigator here to get the right angle. All right, and the light is really high up and at a side view. On the side, so I mean it's not that high up, something like this, which is a very, very popular lighting scenario for you guys to use. Okay, and then the model, I'm just going to completely kind of bring down some of that shine. All right. I think that's the exact angle. So you have a number of issues now that we did that, you have a number of issues visible. Okay, so as you can see, they're pretty obvious. When we look at the face from top down, yes, the light is coming from the side, but it is generally pointing down. The cast shadows are traveling downward. It's not exactly the light I picked, but it's close enough. So I'm going to keep the background white just because that's how you decided to present it. I'm not going to make it any other value or any other color. I just want to show you how to improve this piece. And the issue is that you invented two light environments at the same time. So what you have here is black, a black neck with ambient light. So that would actually look better if you had kept a black scene. And I'm trying not to change your decisions. And that black scene would have kind of just been less distracting for the background. You still have this general ambience coming in from the top, but it explains where all this blue light is coming from. And you've got, you know, everything is done. That pretty much fixed everything. But you had that white background. So because the artist is here, what do you want to do? We're really lucky that today we get the artist present. Usually they're not. Okay, so, you know, you got these two options. I think I'll try to critique them both just so you can see. And there's really no need for you to use a rim light here because that's not the scenario. I've talked about rim light and how rim light is something that happens when you angle the camera in such a way where you're only seeing a sliver of the lit side of the object. Without rim light, you know, rim light is just an angle shot. There's no such thing as light that only travels in a line. It's not like that on us. So it's just going to occupy the surface area exposed to it. This means that this area is pretty exposed to that light. I mean, the shoulder's getting a little bit, and then there's a little bit of shoulders eclipsing forward and casting a shadow. But other than that, it's actually pretty exposed, the chin area. Maybe there's a cast shadow here from the shoulder. Okay? So you've got that. I guess I'll go fix it now. This piece started as a simple portrait doodle and ended up as an artsy mess. So no, you don't have to fix it just now. It's just different options. So you got the black scene, which looks really retro, looks really cool. But then you've also got the white scene. So I'm gonna try to show you both. All right, so the white scene, you see how now the blue doesn't make sense in the white scene? Because I showed you where it would work, and it's really great. It looks fine like this. I just don't recommend that white splotch. Actually, the white splotch might look good, but I feel like it's taking away from the blue. It's hard to tell which one is which. It really just depends on you. This is all outside of the fact that you have issues with the portrait period. Okay, so the issues with the portrait are that the top of the nose is too much shadow and the bottom of the nose has no shadow on it, which is not possible. And then you see the shadows tracking in the Portrait Studio model. You want to do that. You want to show off your shadows, show off what they can do. Because cast shadows are a wonderful way to dress the scene. If you already have a reference, trust your reference. Okay. And then it's that line that you guys constantly do. That line won't do anything for you. Turn it into a shade. Okay, and then I'm just gonna stop the light. It's not just on the lips. That's how you know the artist did it wrong, because you guys limited it to the lips. It's the whole part of the lip area that's gonna get that blue light. Light doesn't care where lip starts. Oh, the lip starts here. Let me just, you know, cast on that. No. And then the nose, I don't think it would, you know, edge out that rim area. It would kind of just occupy the inside of the septum, possibly. If at all, if it even touches the face, because as you can see, it's barely made it to the chin. And then the cast shadow thereafter. But anyway, this is the one that you did, so I'll show you the changes you made here. The changes we'll make here. Alright, I went with the white background because my friends were telling me that everything I draw is dark, so I'm open to both options, really, whichever you prefer, go ahead with. Alright. And then I'm going to start lightening things up as if it's not so much when you choose a graphic background, you know, that's like all artsy fartsy with brush strokes, and it's just supposed to be like a game, a poster or something like that. And it's white. I don't try to mess with that. I kind of just leave that alone because it has its own media use. So that is not something I have an issue with. It's mostly just the different light environments that you combined on the object, not so much what the white background is doing. If she is supposed to be darker, if there's like, you know, she's wearing some kind of costume, then at least show us, if you're going to keep the white, at least show us some kind of gradient. That would reveal her shape so that it reads more as like a part of her getup, you know, just something slight, just some gradient towards the lower part of the canvas. It's not going to take a lot to bring out the structure. And the inverse of that is what you're doing with the black and the white over here. You don't really, because if you're not treating it as a light environment, then you shouldn't be bringing in that white light on top of the face, because if that was the case, then you'd be bringing the white light everywhere. So this is a classic example of absolutely zero light direction. All right. So if you want, you could try to bring in, you can start bringing in the light environment. Start treating the background as a light environment. You still have that option to kind of correct around. It seems like you're already trying to bring it in. Okay. And then, of course, we have to get rid of the blue because that blue really isn't doing much. It is bringing in a different color, which is great, but I think what's happening is that you are working with so many symbols. You're using color as a symbol, so that's how you're using the white in the background. And then I want to try to color correct too. Just try to bring everything down. I'm just getting rid of that blue. So now you have that like black and red focus with hints of blue in the background. And then one thing you could do is just carry all that black upward in a gradient, and then just that way you're working with that same gradient and you're building off of it as a design feature. So these are, I rarely critique based off design, meaning like I rarely try to help build the painting through design. I usually just focus on the light and the physics and stuff. I try not to make suggestions on how the painting should go. I know that sounds like exactly what I do, but I mean, I'm not sure how to describe it. I don't really give you guys ideas on what to do with subject matter or costume, you know, all that much. But this is one of those rare instances, and I've seen this a lot in like fashion, where they'll literally paint half the model's face and just create this cool gradient. And then all that's visible for the mouth is just super, super glossy lipstick, which I'll bring back in a second. Doo-doo. God forbid I say something silly. Y'all are on that right away. All right. So before I do that, so I'm basically kind of creatively taking the reins Do you see what I'm saying? I rarely do that. I rarely critique someone's creativity. I usually just critique the physics or lack thereof. So the whites of the eyes are way too dull. I don't know why you guys dull out the whites of the eyes so much. I don't know if it's like Tumblr or something, or I don't know, somebody did it in DeviantArt and y'all just started doing it. Take it easy with that. It's really just killing your drawings. It's not bringing out the necessary contrast for an eye to read, and it looks really, really cheesy. Bring out the white in the eyes. Look at that instant contrast you get. And you are licensed to contrast the eyes. You are allowed. You're not forbidden from it. The eyes require contrast, so don't be scared of it. I'm going to bring the contrast of the eyebrows up just a touch. And then go back to... And so it can feel a little bit like manga. Where did I start doing that black brush stroke? Okay, and then I'm just going to delete where those highlights are for the lips. Alright, and it's just simple, kind of glossy lip shape. Again, it just still looks really super manga. And we're just helping out. So we're taking a big turn towards those choices that kind of promote that everything should be interpreted as a symbol rather than literally. But the eyes are the only thing painted literally, meaning like to the definition of the object, so no longer symbols. Meaning if it's an eye, it's going to be a spherical eye, it's not going to be a symbolic eye. But the rest of the head is all silhouette and can't help but read it as a symbol. Alright, and then when you enter the symbol domain, that's when you can start messing around with lines. This is really kind of helping. Kind of just like shifting it from 3D to 2D. Alright. You guys hear my cat jumping in and out of her box? It's so naughty. And it would be really cool if you brought in that like manga texture, that kind of I don't know what it's called, that grid thing. All right, as for the red you used, if you were gonna go for pure white, you have to let that red fight through the white as well. Because that red is going to get really, really eaten up by the pure white there. So again, to like push forth that kind of manga book cover, kind of magazine look, if you're going for that white background, that big choice, that bold choice, that kind of movie poster rendition, kind of fan-made deal, you kind of have to also go full retard with the blue, with the red, because you're using things symbolically. So what do I mean when we use things symbolically? Anyone want to redefine that for me? Crosshatch. Yeah, it's like this. No, it's like the manga paper texture. It's really weird. Not sure how to describe it. Let me see if I can overlap it. Manga paper texture. So it's a rare opportunity for me to, like, you know, jump into creative choices. This thing. This thingy. The dots. Let me see if I could just grab this on my way out. No? Void? Okay, fuck you. Save image as desktop. Save halftone texture, I guess. And let me see what do. So something like that actually looks pretty cool. Just from the top. Oops. I mean, there's different ways we could do it. Let me duplicate the layer and turn it off. So again, we're using things symbolically, which is why we're getting away with all of this madness. And you're kind of just, I mean, I don't know if it's even working now that I deleted it, but do you guys see what I mean? That's what I mean by that texture. Or you can do the inverse of it and make it all multiply isn't gonna work. Is inverse, would that work? I just want white dots. I think I have to inverse the texture. Oh, there we go. I think that's sort of working. This is classic comic pattern, looks cool. Pointillism? Symbolically means you define a form as a 2D flat shape without adhering to light source. Realistically representing the mass or perspective of the object. I think triangle versus pyramid. That's not what I mean when I said I use the red symbolically and the white in the background symbolically. So I'm using them as some sort of graphic design kind of imprint. You know, I'm not using it as an actual light environment. I'm using it as a chance to, let me go back to the black dots instead. A chance to kind of open the door for interpreting the color symbolically instead of literally as a light environment. That means I get to push the red further, I get to push the whites further, and then we've got, I'm going to push the white a little bit further because we can't have any more of that, you know, like half in, half out, super grayscale business. So some things you do have to do well, and you have to do them right for the face to keep reading. So you have to make sure you bring in the contrast necessary. So darker on the nostrils a little bit. And I kind of don't want that light, that white, but let me see what happens if I try to make it a realistic. And that's kind of how you mess with, you know, a combination of realism and flat style. You choose where you are going to use the surrounding color symbolically, or the opposite of symbolically, which is to the object's three-dimensional requirements. So it's cast shadows, it's core shadows, it's light source, that's light source direction. All my paintbrushes are like geared for rendering and not for any of this stuff. Anyway, so that's one option. So now you can see how we needed to really saturate that red for it to make sense and be part of what it is that you were doing with the painting. Okay, and then you have the scene where it's actually a scene. So you're gonna need to really work on that one. If the light is blue coming in, unless there's a red light countering it, you really shouldn't have. This is the usual stuff I do, right? This is what I usually do. So if there's a light coming in from the bottom half of the painting, we usually have the entire scene washed out in that light. If that red in the background is part of a background nearby, so if there's a red coming in from this way, it's starting to look like Star Wars over here. So there's that red coming in from the side. Let me see if I can use a better red. There we go. Right, so now you have the two colors clashing, and you don't have to get rid of that red in the background. I'd say get rid of the white or at least dim it. So here we did take everything literally, and there's no stylization or symbolic representation of the background value or the background objects or the artifacts in the painting. All right. And then you'll just have a clash between what the blue can see and what the red can see, and that looks good all by itself. And then that way you can reveal what's lost in the neck and move from there. Okay, so it's really cool we get a chance to talk about style, which we don't get to do a whole lot because usually you guys should not be messing with style at all. when you get swatted, but you still gotta look nice. What does swatted mean? Throw in a lightsaber and you're done. Looks very Star Wars, yeah. Because No Real Girl is actually red, but a graphic element works well. Yeah. Colors can mean any number of them. A number of things. Can you start applying meaning to them? When you start applying meaning to them, yes. Red means bad. Yeah. These both look great. Yeah, so whichever one you choose, one can be a test of your realism, one can be more of a poster. And you see a lot of artists mess around with this stuff. They really push that stuff where it's easy to like it, you know, Instagram, all of that. It's like a poster, you know, it's like a single shot instead of treating everything as something with a light environment, which is nice in and of itself, but it's not always like inducing. People like the poster look, and that's something you're gonna have to deal with. Do I paint for people or do I paint for, you know, realism? Eventually I decided myself to just paint for realism. That's why you see grayscale, and I'm not all about that, you know, hyping up my art and presenting it with fun and painting fan art and filling it with color, because it's not entertainment. So this still has entertainment factors. It's all up there in the entertainment because of all that saturation. But when you're talking about where you were headed with that anime look, you were kind of half and half out with a lot. Again, it's all up to you where you want to take it. But that blue and the black didn't really work because you were neither on the symbolic side or the rendering side. Okay. So the next piece I wanted to look at was this one, which I didn't get a chance to look at last time. I'm not sure I have time to really take it there, but I was just gonna start rendering this realistically. I was gonna just completely go ham and just render everything. So let's go. And that's all the critique I have for this one, is that it's just not well rendered. You have made a lot of mistakes with a lot of features, and the expression is wrong, and it just looks like it's missing skill, and that's what I'm going to be putting in. So first thing we always do when it comes to portraits, let me put my professor glasses on, is we treat the head as a sphere. Again, if I'm running through this changes too quickly, please feel free to stop and go watch a basic kind of 14-day challenge critique hour so that you can understand why I did these things. But I'm not going to explain everything. I'm just going to name the fundamental as I go. So I'm putting in a core shadow for the head. Really, really important change. I want to fix the perspective, but we'll see how much time I've got. You have outlines around the nose. That's bad. Do not outline. I'm going to use a lighten brush stroke to clean it up. And let's see how fast I can render this. All right. Your value sharing just a little bit. What does that mean? Your value sharing just a little. So you don't want to put too much light on the sides of the nose. Too much shadow, sorry, on the sides of the nose. Because what that will do is flatten the nose out because it'll imitate a line. Hey, Istebrak, stop teaching. Just render. Okay. No value sharing. And then we've got the nose shadow. And really, I don't think I still have Portrait Studio open. We have just a really, really confusing perspective happening. Is she tilting her head up? So what I would want to do is just at least get rid of the lights you have under the nostril so that it actually looks like the bottom part of the nose. I'm going to fix the skin too. So you guys saw how easy and quick it is to get like that poster read, that Instagram, you know, art read. It's not all that. And if you look at those galleries that, you know, full of color and dodge tool and whatever it is on Instagram, don't be too impressed. Don't be just, you know, thrown right off your improvement, your journey, because, you know, oh, look at all these artists, they're painting with color and I'm over here painting a grayscale portrait. Trust me, you're doing the right thing. You're painting grayscale for a reason, so that you don't have to depend on Dodge Tool to render for you, so that you can get to that point where you are actually have an easy to call upon skill. So don't get wasted trying to entertain the masses. At one point or another, if you want to build an audience, go for it. It's going to entertain you as well, and there's a time and place when you're good to start painting the stuff that you like to, and if what you like is that colorful stuff, go ahead and do it. And when I say colorful stuff, I'm not talking about color, I'm talking about that poster look, you know? Alright, so I'm giving her an eyelid, and I'm gonna just start smudging, I guess. So first thing I'm gonna smudge is the sphere, the core shadow of the sphere. And I'm gonna just smudge everything out. Alright, so that we could actually get a realistic read for the skin, because I don't know what you're doing with the skin, but it doesn't look realistic. I heard this is from an existing IP. I'm not sure what game or show it is. I'm not really up with it lately. And I shrunk my smudge brush, and I'm smudging the edges of the nose, but I'm not smudging away the nose. Like, this is the size I used here. I'm not going to use that size here. I just can't work with it. I shrink the size of the smudge brush, but it's still large relative to the edge I'm working on. Okay, and I don't understand her expression, but there are other ways to pull it off. The mouth, so you're going for that tiny nose, tiny mouth look, but you've widened the mouth for no reason, which is completely thrown off the symbol that you're pulling from in the style, which is the cute anime triangle. So you don't have to do an expression with the mouth to get sad. You don't have to move the mouth in an expression. Write that back to me. So you could just leave the mouth alone. I'm going to give the mouth a core shadow for the lower lip. And then the upper lip Cupid's bow is way too wide for a cute character. That's like an older adult Cupid's bow, and then you're adding it on a baby head that's super short with a tiny ass nose. That's why it looked bad, by definition of bad. Like it looked off. It looked weird. Those are the words that come up when you see an oversized mouth with an undersized nose, right? So I'm just blocking my way through, just kind of laying things down geographically, I guess. Alright, and then I'm going to throw in some bounce light here and there. If you don't know any of this stuff, if you're not familiar with it, stop the video and go watch a 14-day challenge portrait, one of the recent ones as well, if you don't like watching old stuff, and catch up on the basics of the portrait. I'm going to add the cast shadows in later because they're going to be in the way. Actually, I might forget, so let me just add it in now. Alright, so just a simple cast shadow for the hair. And then, you see how I added a lower eyelid? You were squinting the eyes. What happens when you squint when we squint our lower eyelids? Do our eyes just disappear? Do we just do this? No, we still have lower eyelids. They just went up. So show where the lower eyelid started. There's no reason to erase it. You erase it because you're painting symbolically. You're painting on something that is like a symbolic object. That's impossible. It's impossible to render a flat symbol. If you do, it's going to look wrong, and more wrong the more realism you apply to it, because the essential outline is completely cannot support that kind of realism. So you have to have an outline that supports the realism, meaning it's ready to accept the realistic cast shadows because it's already been designed with volume. It's already been diagrammed with volume. I'm going to get rid of the extra outlines you have around the eyes, which will deflatten the eyes or unflatten them. And then I'm going to fix the pupils and the iris so that they're looking in the same direction. And I'm going to just like render it as if it's a 3D model, a 3D animated movie type scene, so that the eyes can be stylized, but they still have to function, meaning that even the rigging artist, the artist that rigged the 3D model, had to have a functional eyelid rigging system, meaning it still had to be a functional diagram. Even if it's a bigger than usual eye, there still had to be anchors of motion on the inner and outer corners. So even then, when you 3D animate and it's stylized, it has to be realistic, meaning realistic to the function. I'm going to cast a shadow off the upper. I'm going to switch to soft brush now because I'm running out of time. I'm going to cast the shadow off the upper eyelash, down over the eyes. And then one thing you guys love to do is over outline the whites of the eye, the pupils. The iris? The iris. So lighten. And I'm just going to save because I just had a deja vu there. I should save before it crashes. And yes, I get random deja vu. Alright, and then I'm going to cast a shadow on the pupil and the iris as well, like inside. I always confuse the word iris and pupil. Iris is the outer circle, pupil is the inner circle, but I'm always confusing them for some reason in a sentence. Alright, so there's a cast shadow coming off the hat too, which I want to throw in, and I'm still thinking about how low it's going to get thrown in. But it really will make her feel like she's looking up. So, actually, let me do it with this. I can just see if I like it or not. It's going to follow the contour. And then I'm just cleaning it up. It's going to reveal the contour of the face. I'm going to desaturate it as well so it can work with your painting. Right? And then we also blur the living daylights out of a cast shadow because it should not stay sharp. And I kind of aligned that too closely with the lower eyelid so it disappeared, so I'm just going to lower it. Alright, and the reason we blur it so much is because that's what cast shadows mostly do. You barely find super sharp cast shadows without enforcing it with artificial light or something like that, or super strong daylight. Meaning like it's like no clouds at all, high afternoon, close to the equator, you get like these super clean cast shadows. But most of the time cast shadows have a blurry quality to them because their light source is far away or the object is far away from the surface. Alright, and then I want to kind of exaggerate the vibrance of that pupil on the iris, so I just deleted the cast shadow a little bit. And then for the lower parts of the head, I'm going to just start smudging the mouth and then show you what you can do with the mouth to create the expression. But what's the rule about mouths? So we over smudge them, over blend them, because we don't want them to be rendered as if they are sharp edged. What is it about that sharp edge of the mouth that you guys just love drawing? I think it comes from like cartoons and where you've, you know, come from in your art journey. But at no point without lip liner, really badly done lip liner, can a lip look like that. Lips are pretty much just kind of camouflaged in with the rest of the flesh of the face. And I think you had some kind of lipstick. And then I'm just boosting the light back. Alright, as for the nose, you guys always over darken the nose. Just leave the nose light, but darken the nostrils. Not hard to do. Just lighten it up. And I'm just going to bring in a cast shadow. That's already been cooled. See what I'm doing? And then I'm going to delete above that line. And that'll just give me a nice clean nose edge. Alright, so you guys always overdo the nose shadow of like the triangle, lower triangle of the nose. I just remembered Bob and Steve. Oh god. Alright, and then I'm going to just keep rendering, meaning smudging the upper lip. And then just start painting at these areas. I don't even know why I'm rushing, honestly. I don't even need to be. But I guess just to test myself. I'm my own worthy opponent. Okay, just bringing in a little bit of extra shadow here. And then now it kind of feels a little bit more emotional. I'm going to get rid of that lower line you have. And then just try to bring in a pink for the water line. Just a quick little hint of it. It doesn't even need to be super present. It's just there to amount to act its purpose. And then just fix the pupil shape because it's squinted, so it should be hidden. I'm so sorry. So it's not the pupil, the iris. Okay. And then there is usually a highlight even in the shadowed areas, just for the inner and outer corners. Okay, the eye socket, you kind of have it just going on until oblivion. It's just kind of doing its own thing. It's just going to keep going until it leaves the canvas. You need to cut it off towards the corner. There's no need for it to keep traveling. What's the eye crease there for if not the eye? So why does it leave the vicinity of the eye? And as I said before, your eye socket is really, really important for creating a healthy contrast. So just like I did with the nostrils and a new layer, I'm just laying down contrast I need and then deleting. Think of the nostrils as caverns. Yeah, rarely hits them directly to make those caves dark. Yep. You still got 8 minutes. I don't even need to go anywhere. I just, actually I do, but it doesn't have to be on time for this particular thing. Anyway, so there we go. And then I'm going to do that. Okay, so from a distance, I'm gonna just even out what we're doing with the little stronger contrast there for the eye socket. Actually, before I jump into that, I'm just going to lay down the line for the eye socket, but from a distance. There is a small line. And then the eye socket sharpness doesn't travel all the way. It eases up the lower it gets towards the inner corner. And then with a soft brush, I'm going to bring in the blackest black. And this is, all the stuff I'm doing right now is the same stuff I do in a 14-day challenge. That's why we do 14-day challenge, so that we learn all the requirements of the face. A little bit of extra shadow on the outside, starting to look like an animated, 3D animated character. Like that god-awful moon movie. Or To the Moon, what's it called? Jeez. Pandering to the masses much. Couldn't handle it. Anyway, I'm putting a little extra light underneath the lower eyelid for that sheen. I'm sorry if you liked it. I just hated it. I hated it so much. I was cringing the entire time. It just seems like it was made in a lab, you know? They just found all the things that a group of people liked, and then they just, like, just had a lot of it. Like that, Korean K-pop scene. What the hell? Anyway. Right, blending out the eyebrows. The eyebrows don't need to be outlined. And then now I'm going to Over the Moon. Yeah, to the moon, because I thought you meant the game. Not the game. Over the Moon. Is it called Over the Moon? Alright, and then with soft brush on normal, low opacity, I'm really going to try to take that core shadow and just perfect it. I mean, it was a well-made movie, meaning like everything looked great. It looks great. It's just the story was horrible is what I meant. And I'm gonna smudge out. So who is this character? What game is this? And then if you're gonna go for white background that's kind of like emotionally glowing, you know, I don't know because I haven't played this game and I don't know what it's all about. You might want to just go for the white and then Control C, Control V that white, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, just to get that bloom inward. So you get that feeling like there's a lot of light behind the character. And then with a soft brush, really push that bloom. See? And then I'm going to, with my hard brush on the lower layer, kind of bring in some of that white inside the hat. That's because that's a lot of ambient light entering the hat. And then using the white on the object itself, like using the white on the hat, on the dress, is going to make it look like she's part of the scene. She's inside the scene, inside the environment, inside the room she's in. If you want to mess with a little bit more, just be careful. Don't overdo it, but you might want to bring in some of that background color. What is it? The artist is here. Sparkle Fountain Speed Paints. I just arrived here. Hello. Okay, and then you have some like bumps. I'm not sure what the bumps are. And again, it could be a game. What's the game? Can somebody tell me the goddamn game name? I just arrived here, just taking a break from studying for college. Oh, welcome. Thank you for coming, Sparkle Fountain Speed Paint. So cute. You might want to just like break up the folds in this fabric. It'll just help you. You're only going to benefit from it. Making it one big chunk kind of just makes it look like a toilet seat. You know? Just break it up, make it look like something that's got a little bit more. Wizards 101. Okay, dare I Google this? Wizards 101. Images. Did you just make me Google something ridiculous? Is this real? Where's the cone head girl? There is not? I'm just trying to see where the original design is, what the original design is for the girl. I thought it was an anime. Just goes to show how old I am now. Alright, so that's something you might consider. I won't be able to jump into doing all of that, but you might consider doing that. Okay. Is this your logo? Possibly. And then you've got the cone of the hat, which is way too flat. So you need to actually render, and that's why I say form studies are awesome, because they teach you how to render. I don't think I can use the environment color. They teach you how to make an object look three-dimensional. Alright, so it's just about putting shadows on the side and then using a common value to carry the light up the cone. Do you see that? So it's going to actually look three-dimensional. And then I bring in the white light. Trying not to mess it up. Okay. And then finally, select inverse. The lower half of the canvas, just because it's the lower half. By the way, your canvas shape, the tile, it looks horrible. Make it a long canvas. That way you can actually get time for your character to show themselves. You don't run out of time because the tile was too short or the canvas was too short. I'm gonna try that again. Try to use it on the sleeves so the sleeves look three-dimensional, just like that, like radially dropping the value. So it looks realistic. And then bringing in the white and using it on the top of the sleeves. Each ripple gets a little light. Before I finish up, if you guys learned something today and you want to give back to the community, you can join on Patreon as $1 a month patron. It's not you know, a big financial pledge, but if everybody does it, it ends up being big. So that's how we keep the community and you know, work off the word community. It's a community effort to keep the channel independent. So if you want to, if you learn something and you've been wondering about joining on Patreon, you don't have to join as a patron or submit art or anything if you wanted to just give back in your own way. Patreon isn't just about educational content or the classes or the assignments or the rewards. It's about also a way to give back in a really kind of easy way. Just set it and forget it. All right, and I'm just adding a little bit of extra contrast around all these hollows, like the nose gets more black because it's an actual cavity, and a little bit of extra black on the mouth. And one thing that we do for characters with blue eyes is she supposed to be sad, or is this expression like off? Does anybody know about this game? Istebrak, this is like everybody's childhood. What do you mean? I've never played. Oh, she's like a Wizards 101 original character. What do you mean everybody's childhood? I'm supposed to know about this? Alright, so I used blue and just brushed the blue everywhere. And because she's crying, and I'm assuming that she is, I'm going to bring in a little bit of red in the eyes, which also adds to the feeling like she's crying. And then if she's like really bawling, you can add a little bit of water. Just be classy about it. Don't just, you know, just add a little bit here. Just along the edge, the rim of the water line. And if she's just going for it, you can just add it to her. Anyway. 2008. So your corrections are still valid. Oh, okay. In the game, the animations are... okay, a lot of people I know played it at least. Really? I've never played it. I was playing Age of Empires when I was... Well, in 2008, I wasn't gaming. But I grew up on Age of Empires. And Tekken. And Mortal Kombat. And what other games did we play? Obviously Zelda. All the Nintendo stuff. Devil May Cry. Kingdom Hearts. That was my childhood. Dun, 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 dun. You only know it because your little sister used to play it. Sure. Sure, bro. I'm joking. I'm just gonna highlight the water a little bit. Again, I'm maybe just pushing this way outside what usually happens in the game. It's probably not even this emotional. So as for the blush of the character, so I picked a really kind of simple pink color. And I'm using that on the mouth, but also on the cheeks in the midtone. Not here, not here, on the midtone. That's how you make it look realistic. And finally, I'm going to use the white of the background on the skin. That's going to make everything look like it's part of the same room. And then up here, the further we get into the hat, I kind of just want to bring in some extra shadow. Damn, man, I was running mad fast. All right, so radially moving upward. And then deleting. So the before and after is going to look completely different. All right, so this made it feel like we're really under the hat, adding that shadow there. Okay, do I merge everything? Yep, pretty much. All right, the hat is also kind of feels like a paper, feels flat. Filter, liquify. I'm gonna try to make it look like it's a one curve. And then you kind of don't really have it compressing. Where's my densities? So usually you just choose a high point and then work off of it, working down as you go. I'm doing liquefy voice right now. I was like muttering. All right. So it looks a little bit more three-dimensional. And then finally, which is the thing that I've been waiting for this whole time, and the thing that I thought of when I first saw the piece, is make the hat like bigger and like lower, because it's gonna make her look really cute if the hat is like too big for her head and kind of lower. See how before, after. So that's something I wanted to do early on, like last class when I voted on which one do you guys want to do. I just think it looks cute with the big hat. I might have messed it up because if I do that. But the 2 dislikes are from my biggest fans who hate me so much they subscribe to me so that they can come in during stream and give me a dislike because they just love me that much, you know? Alright, so before, after for the hat. It's really your choice. I think it's cuter if you kind of just do something like that. Or the hat is kind of lopsided as well. But it's all up to you. See how it feels a little small? Feels a little dinky? Any questions? Thanks, boys. Dedicated friends. Yeah. Oh, Mortal Kombat all the way. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't end up breaking my PlayStation when playing against my brother. Yeah. I just looked at the game and my elbow started melting away. No, really, I'm not talented enough to play a children's game. Yeah, they joined the stream just to dislike. Means more engagement though. So, they watched the stream with their monitors upside down. They thought it was the like button. That's so funny. That's really funny. Sorry, what I meant was the dislike ratio, but I see somewhere that someone dedicates their life for hate. No, they really love me. They love me. They're just mad at me for some reason or other. They love me. A lot of people love recreating video game characters super loyally to the model's form. There's some uncanny portraits. Yeah. How would you recommend going about that? The best thing about a video game is people don't pay attention to the naked form of a playing character. They look at the costume. So if you get the costume right, you're still making fan art. So as long as you make a realistic form, if for some reason the realism of the anatomy of the character that's playable is bad, you can correct it and still have the costume. And it's still a valid fan art. That's pretty much how you do realistic fan art, realistic renditions of things. Is is that way. So I'm gonna just do the before and after and get the heck out of here. Excuse me. If I do that, actually, the lopsided, I have to correct the shadow. So I don't want to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to correct this. Son of a bitch. And even though, you know, your painting was flatter or you were trying something with lines, it's still an educational experience watching me render this. So I hope, you know, it being a different before and after doesn't take you guys back too much. Take you guys aback. That's how you English speakers say it. Take you aback. Take you Istebrak. Oh God, shut up. I don't know if this is, I'm just gonna do that. And then the hair as well needs to be darkened now. Yeah, this OC is cute. Oh my God, I just realized my cat's name is OC. She's my original character. Oh Lord. How did that happen? How did I oversee that? Well, her name is Osina, not OC. Excuse me. Alright, and I'm just gonna cast the shadow of this hair. Okay. And then just very, very maturely using dodge tool, just like a mature adult. Alright, just slightly, just on the mouth. Okay, and if you want to, super, super low strength on the dodge tool, exposure super, super low, we just bring in that little glisten, that tearful sweat. Just the sweat of tears, you know. You know when you cry, you're sweating. All your pores are crying. Just like that. And then, sorry, my bad, I'm not done. And grabbing the light from the sides on the new layer, and then bringing in that bounce light or ambient light that you wanted to add. And yes, I know it's messy, my application, but I usually use it in combination with the eraser tool and kind of just take it back a little bit. And I'm just casting the shadow of the hair, if it would, depending on where it's coming from, really, I don't know. So what's everybody up to? Just over here extending the class. I've been very talkative today. For a day where I'm extremely tired and disoriented and actually like losing my mind. And I had a dizzy spell too earlier in the day. I was just like completely like, the whole room was rotating. Reason being is that I had a concussion recently, a really bad one. And been having horrible reactions to it. Post-concussive syndrome, crazy migraine. But anyway. So before, after, just extra lights on the side. I just casually say I've had a horrible brain injury. Don't worry, knowledge is still there. CritiqueHour will go on. Alright, enough small talk. Before, be careful, especially when getting up, you could pass out or hurt yourself. Yeah. I smacked my head on a 2x10 while working on the deck a couple of months ago. I know it was months ago, so I don't know why my head still hurts, but Before, after. Okay. Before. So mouth being really big does not help you. Does not help you create a cute character. Even if it's part of the game, or that's just a bad artist for the game who did that. Because you should not be having a small mouth, a big mouth and a small nose. Oh my god, go get an MRI. MRIs are expensive. You smacked your head on the fridge yesterday. I'll be fine. I think I'm managing it. Besides post-concussion, I've done a lot of, I did go to the doctor for it, so I've done a lot of work on the concussion. I shouldn't have shared. You can hit your head really bad. Yeah. So before, after, and then for the mouth. I mean, you don't need to take it this far. You can just do that. I mean, it's cute, but it's not necessary. Alright, so you see how you can still keep your style? I mean, today is all about styling. You can still keep your style, but you just have to decide, you know, what you're doing. And the reason why it looks fuzzy is because I use soft brush, so you can go about it in a much more blocked way, you know, taking your time. But style doesn't have to be surrendered if you are picking, you know, what you're treating as symbolic light source and actual literal light source. You can still combine a lot, mess around a lot with your choices. Just don't go halfway in, because that's not how it works. That's not what looks good. Just pick one and go for it. Don't use lines in some areas and shade in some areas, because that's just going to kill you. You outline the mouth, you outline the nose, but you have rim light as an ambient source or something like that. You've got shadows, you've got an eyelid and an eye crease, a blinking eye, but you've got outlined mouth. What do you need an outline for the mouth for if you're drawing realistic eyes? You know, you don't need lines anymore. Throw the line away. Just kick it out of your house. You can replace it with something that is a functional edge, responds to the light source. And if you're going to go for style, go ham. You know, if you're going to pick that white background, saturate too. Don't just have a dull, weird, random, unique pastel color for the red. Well, you have this big white that never happens in the real world. And then in this case, it's happening in this world, but we used a bloom to make it realistic. We illuminated the sides of the face with it. We explained that that light source is some kind of heavenly scene or heavenly moment of tears. And to make it even more realistic, you could just do something like that. That's horrible because my brush is textured. Alright, so even more bloom. Oops. Before, after. If that's what you deem is necessary. But it still works. Oh, I already got rid of it. Alright, so thank you everyone for coming today to today's class. You guys are the best for joining on the live streams. If you want to submit your work for Critique Hour, you can do so by going to istebrak.com and clicking on the Reddit icon. Don't forget to give Abu a follow on Instagram. He's super shy about his art, and he posts the best art I've ever seen, the best pixel stuff. It's so cute, such high detail. And he recently animated a little Yoda scene too. Yeah, I don't care. I'm plugging. I don't care. It's Abu. He's our beloved portrait studio developer. He's our buddy. He's our champion. Please give him some love and go share his work. He did not ask me. He never asked me, not once, to share his new Instagram. He's so humble. And because of that, I have to share it now everywhere. So give him a follow if you love animation or pixel art or Baby Yoda. Portrait Studio is still on sale, as well as my brushes, so go get them now if you want to get them for Christmas or for someone or anything. It'll be on sale from now until probably early January, because I know you guys have New Year's resolutions and stuff like that and doing New Year's resolution shopping. So I'm just going to leave them up on sale until then, but if you are interested in purchasing them, now is that yearly sale that I have at this lowest price, and the brushes don't really go on sale other than this time as well. The individual brushes at so low. So if you want to buy Portrait Studio, you can there. And then Patreon, if you're interested in supporting, even if it's $1 a month. Together, everybody joining us $1 a month is like equivalent to you know, what other channels are requesting for support. So I try to work with numbers instead of, you know, the power of numbers, instead of asking so much from every individual. That's why I have such low tiers. I don't really expect anyone to throw a massive amount of financial support my way. I know my videos aren't really advertisable or ad friendly. So I do have to have an avenue for support because I'm not working with any agencies or marketing or anything like that. And YouTube stopped sharing my videos, stopped sending out notifications. It's really, really weird what YouTube's been doing to my channel. So supporting through Patreon is really the best option at the moment for my channel. Thank you everyone for coming. I'll see you guys on Thursday, the 10th at 5 p.m. Eastern time. There's only 3 more critique hours, and then a month of no critique hour, because it'll be the Christmas holidays, and I'll be just freaking cooking my ass off and hopefully getting some sleep and healing from this concussion. Thank you everyone for coming. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Bye.